The champion of 2016, starting from pole position, James Duckworth, alongside Kel Tressiter. Blake Skibberus and Pukekohe will start on the second row. Brendan Pingle and Grant Ludby. Angus Fogg inside the top 10 with Craig Woods. They've repaired that car after that wild moment on the main straight earlier today. Sean Rose and Craig Thompson back on the 8th row. Zach Best, the young 15-year-old, starts at the back of the field, or the back of the top 20 anyway. Michael Rinken down to Ruth Bowler, Lee Bowler and Darren Chamberlain of the 28 cars for the final race. And haven't they turned it on in their first ever appearance here at Pukekohe?
Yeah, Craig Woods was a little unlucky this morning to not catch that slide that he had. It just hooked up a little bit too much on the transfer road, but he was holding on to it for a long time, and he probably thought I've kept it off the outside wall, but unfortunately ended up tagging the inside one.
He was lucky that it didn't do more damage or take other cars with him as the green flag waves at the back. Final race of the season. They'll head back to Australia, reset and recharge, and it's lights out for the final time, and Duckworth makes a blinder of a start from the pole position because it's been treacherous from there all weekend long, and he will lead us down to turn number 1 for the first time, and we're already 2 and 3 wide. That's Rose in the Redcliffe wrecking entry, sliding his way on a different compound of tyre they're testing for next season.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what that car handles like towards the end of this 12-lap stint, see if they can learn some information out of it. One thing's for sure is there's plenty of attitude on these cars right from the get-go at turn 1.
I said to Nick Percat this morning, there's no chance to settle into this category. It's on from lights out, and they're proving that again here in the final races. Down the inside goes Peter Carr on the first lap. Ludby's going to run out of racetrack here. Yeah,
he has, just a little bit too deep. Sort of got sucked into that one. 2 guys on the inside were pretty late, but when you're on the outside there, 3 wide, you're always going to struggle. Duckworth, though, he's battled more than anybody, and he's had to use the shortcut, and he's got a bit of tag there.
And Pingle's off as well, and just keeps it off the tyre wall. So Duckworth had to go through the Motorcana section, we call it there, on the back straight, and that's now put him back a handful of positions, in fact, to position 6. But poor Brendan Pingle has gone off the track down there in the RJ's Licorice entry. But it's Kel Tressiter that will lead us through at the end of lap number 1.
Looked like Pingle had a bit of right front damage there from that tap that he had with... I don't think he's going to get that going as we have a look at the graphic. Yeah, he's parked that for the day.
What a shame. The man from the Lockyer Valley in Queensland climbs out, and that's the end of his 2016 championship. We continue on with the action out of turn number 4, and it's a 4-car scrap as the slipstream battle continues.
It was a bit awkward, this, for my money. I think Duckworth did a pretty good job to get back on the track, and then, yeah, Pingle, left front there. It looks like he's done some damage. He can't turn the car, and he's decided to nose it up against the fence as we see the safety car come out.
So they've called the safety car, and that'll be for the Pingle car that's hard up against the tyre wall down there. That's right on the maximum load of the turn, is it? So it wouldn't be much to break the left front.
No, definitely not. He would have had a fair bit of lock going on there, and probably surprised that Duckworth was where he was, but at some stage he's got to be able to slot back into the train, doesn't he? And just unfortunate.
He was quick to escape, and he's kept the helmet on. That's never a good sign. That's usually the body language that we don't want to talk.
No, lots of disappointment going on there. Don't know, we didn't see Duckworth's incident, did we? But I'm assuming that he's just locked the rears, not been able to turn, or not had enough confidence to turn at the end of the back straight there, and opted for the safer measure to, well, what he thought was the safer measure was to go through the shortcut, but it was the entering back into the train that's caused some problems.
So our recovery crew will come out there very soon and retrieve the newly sponsored RJ's Licorice entry.
Hope it's not those guys in the background there, because they're not moving too quick, are they?
Check out a replay of the start here, and it was great for Duckworth, but as we saw, he'd go down the escape road at the end of the first lap. This is the view from the Stevenson entry. These 2 guys, as I said, are trialling the new tyre. It's the same set they've had all weekend long, and I guess they're the testing markers for next year on whether this compounded tyre is going to work. And judging by the way they went to turn 1, not too bad at all.
Plenty of confidence in the tyre and plenty of grip out wide, that's for sure. I mean, there's no better way of, you know, probably for the viewers at home, they're thinking, why are they testing the tyres during the race? But there's no better way of comparing apples with apples than putting, you know, a test tyre up against the, let's call it the datum tyre in the race, and seeing how the 2 work over the whole weekend. So smart move by the category.
And of course, with no points on the line, you can take those kind of risks at this event. That's Mark Griffith on the inside, the Hot's Breath Cafe entry, a GT racer that's made a couple of guest appearances this year in the Aussie racing cars. This is from Angus Fogg, getting a fantastic start once again.
Yeah, he got a really good jump, and then we could hear that the car just lit up into a bit of wheel spin there. And it looked like, big move around the outside there from Foggy. So just trying to make up for that wheel spin. We saw the same thing happen with Tressida. He got a really good launch, and then it broke into wheel spin, which allowed Duckworth just to drive off into turn 1 with plenty of confidence.
Very lightweight cars there. Only 125 brake horsepower. The power to weight ratio very, very similar. And 11,500 revs, you've got to be absolutely spot on with the release of the clutch. This is the replay of Fogg on his first lap as he moved his way up the field. He's running 4th at the moment. He's just seen the distance.
Yeah, so Duckworth wasn't on his own. There was a couple of guys that opted to run down through that escape road. We might see here exactly what's happened.
So this will move. He got past him down here, and the contact would have happened in the background. You can see Pingle going off the track and into the tyre wall, and that's why the Lexus safety car is out. Well, we got this on. Let's head down to pit lane with Cameron Vanendungen.
Confirmation from the Pingle team that is broken steering on that car. Looked at, and that's confirmed. Now, Andy, you mentioned before about the test tyre that they're using out there. Both Sean Rose and Chris Stevenson having to use the same tyre across all 4 races. Not only are they testing the different compounds, but the durability of them. The words from the team are they start off worse than the current tyre, but they're much stronger at the back end of a stint.
Yeah, okay, well, it'll be good to keep an eye on those guys towards the end of this race then, won't it, and see how they're progressing.
So Rose is down in 12th at the moment. Stevenson inside the top 10 in 9th. Thanks to Cameron Vanendungen down in pit lane. Very busy for him today.
I feel a bit bad for Pingle there. I think, unfortunately for him, I reckon it was sight unseen where Duckworth has been able to see Foggy and just didn't realise that Pingle was that close behind him. So he's tried to slot in behind Foggy, tag the front of Pingle's thing, and obviously broken that left front suspension.
With all your experience right now, we're seeing the cars warming the tyres back up. Even over a handful of laps, you're trying to keep the tyre pressures up. Yeah,
absolutely. One of the best way in any racing car is to generate tyre temp, and tyre pressure is to porpoise the car forwards and backwards on the brake rotor, getting plenty of temperature into it, and then once you get some temperature into the core, then we see this weaving happening to try and shift that temperature across the face of the tyre so that when we get going, these guys can get hard into it straight away.
Well, the Lexus RCF safety car has disappeared from the field. It leaves it in the hands of the multi-time karting champion from Bundaberg and Kel Tressida. You've got Peter Carr in 2nd, Blake Skiveris in 3rd, Angus Fogg now with his best chance of a win. After being outside the top 10 in qualifying, an engine change after a vibration in the gearbox on Friday afternoon. He's in the black and gold number 39 car as Tressida getting ready to bring around this 25-car field of Aussie racing cars in the final race of the weekend at the ITM Auckland Super Sprint.
Good restart there from Tressida. I felt like he held them for quite a long time at the specified 60 kilometres an hour that the leader has to hold, and then he got a really good jump, but he's a bit conservative here into turn 1, and he's allowed the other guys to jump back up on the back of him with the benefit of that toe up the front straight.
Duckworth was very aggressive on the restart into turn number 1 as a 6-car, make it 7-car scrap now for the lead as they exit turn number 4 and down the back straight, moving across the circuit. There's Kyle Clues left-hand side, the Darrell Lee Sticks entry. Car number 17 running back in 5th, and side by side now on the rundown with Angus Fogg.
We've seen these guys go too wide through here, and I expect to see a little bit, big brake lock up in the rear. Guys have come together, and Foggy's taken the inside run across the grass.
I thought Clues was gone for all money then, and now Fogg had to take to the grass, and then it'll drop him back behind. Duckworth, who now goes down the inside and moves up a position.
Good move, well played. Lots of rear brake going on there. A little bit of rear locking, but he kept it under control, got the job done.
Through they come, so Duckworth from pole position back to 4th, and Clues is not done with this. He's on the back of the RDA brakes number 10. Here's the replay of turn 5 at Century Batteries corner, and the car snapped sideways, and that unloaded the Property Tutors Hampton Downs go-kart entry off the circuit.
This was a really good angle of it. We watch here. There we go, Clues is on the brakes. We can see that rear just squirming a little bit, so he's had to hesitate to turn the car in, and unfortunately ran into Foggy because of it.
Foggy's overdriving the car right now. He snapped sideways and laid down some licorice straps out of the little S's there. as here comes Peter Carr and Blake Skibberus and Duckworth taking clues. There's so many battles going on. I'm glad you're here with me.
There's plenty of battles. I think Duckworth might be just a little bit too far behind there to be enjoying the benefit of the toe up that back straight. He's going to have to work pretty hard to get onto those front three.
Through 6 they come. Cressida, it's less than 3/10 of a second, first to second, but as we've seen yesterday, both those races went down to the final set of turns.
Cressida's got himself a little gap going on this lap. Oh, I'd say Foggy's got a problem there. He's slowing up a fair bit, so that's his weekend. Looks like it might be a little bit over.
It's a bit too easy, wasn't it, for the Sinclair Ford entry of Craig Woods? The team thrashed to get that car out after the incident this morning at high speed on the run down the main ITM straight here.
Maybe he's just missed a gear in it, sequential gearbox. But sometimes with these cars, you can pull that stick and it just has a little hesitation, and that's what it looked like because he's up and going again now. He's racing to fight on for another position.
He gets ahead. That's Darren Chamberlain in the background of the shot with the boxing kangaroo across the front. That's the car that Charlotte Pointing drove to victory last weekend at Hampden Downs, becoming the first female racer to win a race in the Aussie Racing Car Super Series. Lap 7 of 12.
Tressida controlling the race here, but Duckworth's coming at them. He's halved that gap in 1 lap, so another lap here and he'll be onto the back of this train. The toe will come into play and we'll see what he can do with it. He looked really good when Clues and Foggy came together there. He looked pretty fast compared to those guys, so we'd like to see a 4-way battle at the front, wouldn't we?
I think you're going to get one. Down to the hairpin they go.
Very soon, I'd say, too.
Heading back towards the main straight. There's Ludby almost inverting the number 30 car on the exit of the hairpin. They sweep through 9, 10 and 11. A very exciting, very cool part of the course.
Really accentuate the bumps through this final turn in turn 1, these Aussie racing cars, because as opposed to the supercars where they soak the bumps up a lot, these cars tend to skip across the top of them and we see lots of car attitude, which makes it exciting to watch.
And this corner too. In fact, all 11 turns here are exciting. It's old school cool. Pukekohe Park, an historical racetrack, much like our very own Sandown Raceway back in Melbourne, except we go the opposite way around. And the crowds have packed in here today. We've got 2 huge races coming up in the Virgin Australia Supercars Championship later this afternoon. And we pointed out a few times this weekend on how good a quality we've got of New Zealand drivers, and they've been doing that for many, many years.
Yeah, absolutely. We see it in this category, but we also see it in the supercars category. And one thing's for sure, Kiwis love their motor racing, don't they? And there's a really core group of guys that have been getting behind some younger lads in the country for a long period of time and trying to progress their careers.
It's good to see. We go down to the hairpin once again. So Cressida, a small margin, not much, less than half a second. They're coming around to complete lap number 8 now, and Angus Fogg has got a train of cars queuing up, including Ludby, Stevenson and Darren Chamberlain. Rounding out the top 10. Behind them you've got Tucker, Rose, Chapman, Griffith and Sam Melton, the South Aussie, running back in 15th.
Yeah, interesting to watch Foggy. He was very racy early on, and I mentioned yesterday the benefit of playing with tyre pressures in a category like this, and I'd say that he probably started with higher tyre pressures looking at it. He was very fast, and now they've probably gone over pressure a little bit, and he's dropping off as the race distance goes on with outright pace.
Notice they've been a lot more aggressive on the first curve than what we've seen all weekend long. A bit more rubber's been laid down there, which gives them a bit more grip.
Yeah, a bit more confidence from the driving group as well. Pretty happy to get it up on 2 wheels through there. They don't float as long as some of the other cars here, but they still look very, very cool, don't they? Look at Duckworth. Deep on the brakes. Couldn't get the job done, though. It
was a phantom look, wasn't it, on the run down to turn 5. So he's on the back of Peter Carr in car number 61. Skibberus still all over the back of Kel Tressida. Down to the hairpin we go, and they're much closer than what they were on the last lap. So it's setting up for a last lap screamer, as we've seen all weekend long here at Pukekohe. Looking back, this is Fogg and Ludby. Who's going to break first and who's going to get the corner? There was contact, and they got through the corner.
Good job by both guys to give each other plenty of racing room. We just got a message through from Foggy's team to say that they've actually got the opposite going on, where tyre pressures are dropping, which is a bit abnormal, I'll be honest, for motorsport. Normally, you know, they start low, and as the pressure and temperature builds, the pressure goes up. So that's a bit of an odd one. We'll have to have a look into that. Duckworth, big look up the inside. That's going to hurt his run, unfortunately. we'll look for the fake or the phantom move, as you mentioned, mate, at the end of the back straight here.
Talk about pressure. He put maximum pressure then on Pukekohe. And same is happening up the front there with Blake Skiberis. Down into turn 5, and now Duckworth to the inside of Carr. Is it going to be enough? He gets up on the curb. He'll try the switchback here at 6.
Carr hung on the outside there and was able to give himself the run through the inside for 6. Kept that position. It's on though, isn't it? Look
Absolutely.
at these boys, it's on.
He's having another go down the hairpin, and this time it's through, but he gets a bit of sideways, and it allows Carr to go side by side once again through one of the fastest points of the course.
Just could not get the power down. He knew how important it was to run out of there. Look at these guys. We've got 2 wide for first and second, 2 wide for third and fourth. This is awesome.
You take row 2, I'll take row 1. Through they come, and a new race leader. Blake Skiberis has taken the lead here.
And out of that, Duckworth got the job done, and so did Skiberis.
Where do you look? So it's a role reversal here. Tressida back to second, Duckworth up to third. And Blake Skiberis, the teenager, former 2-time karting champ in his first real full season in the Aussie Racing Car Super Series. He joined us at the midway point in 2015. And we've seen a changing of the guard, haven't we, in the past 12 to 18 months in this super exciting category.
And Blake will be loving that view. There's no better feeling when you're a race car driver to be looking up the road in the race and seeing no car ahead of you. It is brilliant.
Always a good sign. So, would you want to be leading this one with 1 to go?
Yeah, I think so. I think at this phase, yeah, absolutely, mate. I mean, with 1 or 2 laps to go in any category, you're given a bit of freedom to be able to drive defensively, and we're seeing Blake do that. So the only thing to keep a bit of an eye on here is, these cars are a bit susceptible to a tow. So yeah, we'll see how this plays out. One thing's for sure, it's going to be exciting.
So Tressida lined him up out of the hairpin as they come around onto the ITM straight to start the final lap of season 2016 in the Aussie Racing Car Super Series. Who's going to win this? Skiberis protects the line. Goes a bit wider into turn 1 than what he's done on the previous laps. And this is probably the biggest margin all race long.
Yeah, I'm going to put my money on Skiberis. He looks hungry for it. Look at that commitment into turn 1. He was mega deep on the brakes. Car was squirming around, and he knew how important it was to have a pretty big gap up this back straight. So let's see how this plays out.
2 serious chances to pass for any of these guys if they want to swap positions right now. They're coming up to Ruth Bowler, the women's champ in the category this year. Skiberis down the middle of the road. Tressida will want to get the run out of turn number 6. He's close enough. He's taking Duckworth with him. It's will they catch Bowler before the hairpin? I think they're going to. She's going to keep the car up. Well, they won't get her here, but she could play a big part in this race.
No, she's seen the blue flags and she's done the right thing. She's out of the way. Let these boys get on with it. Little lock up into the hairpin there from Blake, so he was deep. But he's going to continue on here and get the job done.
I don't think he's going to be able to do it here. And Skiberis protecting the line. They go out to the top side. Tressida trying everything, but Blake Skiberis will pick up the final race win of season 2016. And don't you think he's happy?
He's happy about it. We see the arm out the window there, waving along. Well done. Great race. Terrific racing by those guys.
Fantastic end to another awesome series in the Aussie Racing Car Super Series. It was 0.2 of a second as the checkered flag falls on the final race of the year. Tressida finishing second behind Blake Skiberis, who go into season 2017 looking confident aboard car number 68. Tressida second, Duckworth in third, then Pukekohe, Craig Woods in fifth. Back to Ludby, Kyle Plews, Angus Fogg, Chris Stevenson and Brendan Tucker inside the top 10. Some 10 seconds adrift. Then we go back to pointing. Sean Rose, Reece Chapman, Craig Thompson in 15th. Down to Mark Tarrant in the 99 car this weekend, finishing up